This Friday, Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan are back to switch things up in Disney's Freakier Friday.
Totally. Yes.
It's an absolute riot.
Woo!
And the only movie that can be described as
So much weirder than the last time. What last time?
it's the frequel
You ready?
we've been waiting for.
That absolutely slays.
What deeply out of touch old person came up with that?
You did.
Wow.
Don't miss the comedy event of the summer for all ages. Disney's Freakier Friday in theaters this Friday. Get tickets now. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested.
It's Wednesday Addams. I see you're trying to distract yourself from your own banal thoughts. Let me help. Here's a recording thing made of my latest root canal.
Wednesday, Season 2, begins August 6th, only on Netflix.
It's back to school season, and Clorox is donating 2 million disinfecting wipes to classrooms across America. Because back to school means things can get a little bit messy. Just ask kindergarten teacher Miss Gibson.
Give me just one Clorox wipe and I'm ready for glitter glue, exploded lunchbox yogurt, peanut butter handprints, runny noses, picking noses, rubbing noses.
Touching noses.
Thank you, Edward. Ooh, nap mats and lockers and tissue boxes. And
Clorox
scissors.
disinfecting wipes. Teacher's #1 wipe. Clean feels good. Based on unit sales data.
Pie in the Sky Media. This series contains adult language and descriptions of graphic violence throughout. Listener discretion is advised.
3, 2, 1. Welcome back, Murder Chronicles Nation, to another bonus episode of the hit podcast, The Murder Chronicles, hosted by the great Carolyn Osorio, who we're lucky enough to have join us again today.
Woohoo!
Hello, Carolyn.
Hello, Branden.
Welcome back. It's been a week or two. Yeah. I survived my vacation. Back in the habit here, back at my desk, ready to go. How have you been? How's your summer so far?
Doing great. I mean, it's kind of like, when you forget that the kids are getting out of school and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait a second.
There's more work now.
I know, it's like, they don't want to do camps. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. I'm like, what?
And we don't want them melting their brains on screens all day, right? Because then I feel like a neglectful parent. Yeah.
Well, of course, but it's like, there's got to be some give and take. And then I have to stop myself from doing, well, when we were kids,
You go outside with a stick and rocks for 12 hours. And we laugh, but it's true.
I know.
True, that's what we did. We had nothing to do, just go get in trouble. But, so.
Speaking of kids.
Yeah.
That we're so lucky to have.
Yeah. You know how Branden likes him some forensic stuff, right?
I told you I was giving it to you.
Yeah. Well, this episode really, really delivered. But also, it's like, be careful what you wish for. Like when I was
Don't even go there. I told you.
When I was listening to the description of the child's handprint, I wanted to throw my fucking computer out the window, right? Because I was sitting there and I was kind of doing it, and I was going through, like, if you're laying on your back and the hand, and I went, okay, all right. That was a little too much forensic information.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, like what these people do. And after talking with Jennifer Shen and this woman, like I've worked with her before, and she was my first person that I went to and said, hey, I've got this dipshit named Branden Moore. No, I just was kind of like, okay, what? And she told me about the case, and she's like, this case, and I was like, oh man, he is just gonna hate this case. And then I thought, you know what they did to accomplish the goal of like bringing resolution and justice, some measure of resolution, I should say, for the family, and I just feel like it's so much, and it's worthy to see what they do, to bring this case to fruition.
Yeah, and listen, and you jumped in there a little bit. Like you looked at a picture, didn't you? According to the audio,
I didn't really have. That's why I was like, so I didn't fully complete that. So she's like, you know what? In order for you to get this, because we were just going to do an interview,
Yeah.
And she's like, you know what? I'm going to go through the entire PowerPoint with you because she had it.
Yep.
And I was like, okay. And
okay,
so
because that was one of the points I'm sorry to interrupt you, that I was making before we started recording, that I was waiting until now, is that there was something that seemed a little bit off in her interview for me. And then I realized, oh, she's reading something this whole time. Right. Because it wasn't flowing like a normal conversation with the hesitations or the reconsiderations or the ums or the ahs. Like she was just reading. And so I got that barrier between me and the content kind of went away, and I was able to like fully immerse in it,
Yeah, it was definitely, it was a little stodgy, and she was like worried about that. But it's one of those things where I feel like she really wanted to go through it and get it accurate. And so I was like, when someone wants to give you their time like this, I mean, I wanted to fully spotlight it. And it was a bit awkward. I totally give it to you. But I think at the end of the day, it was worth it. So, but yeah, so I'm going through the PowerPoint with her, and I didn't know that was happening, and she's just like, do you want to, and I didn't really have we always have choices, but I was kind of like, and so, I saw a picture, and it was very difficult to say.
I don't want to hear about it. If you want to describe it, I'll plug my ears so the listeners can hear.
No, I don't think I need to. And honestly, I don't want to either.
She did it enough. Like it was, was described.
It was
described. Yeah. But there's so much stuff here that I was furious. I'm showing my notes. I was furiously taking notes. One of them about the tape pulls that she was talking about. Right. And as I was thinking, I'm like, why don't they just get a vacuum cleaner? And then it was explained like right then. And I went, oh, well, no shit. Because the vacuum cleaner is going to get a bunch of stuff that you don't need. That's going to predate the crime. I went, oh my God, that's great. Because it reminded me of, I read a lot of James Michener. I think I've mentioned him several times. And one of his books is called The Source, which is basically the entire history of, it winds up being a history of Judaism, but going all the way back to like prehistoric man, like humans. And there is one piece of land that has always been inhabited because it's on a rise and there's a water source. And so it's just, first it's where cavemen lived, and then various cities have been built there on the trade route to Jerusalem. And so there's this garbage pit, thousands of years old. And it's these archaeologists that are excavating this garbage pit, and layer after layer after layer tells the story of humanity. And so that's what I was thinking of. And I'm like, in such a micro, no, you only want what happened on the absolute surface that fucking Scotch tape's going to get. You don't want even the increased strength of a vacuum cleaner, because it might get something that will throw you off.
It was like a view into the world that isn't just a CSI show. And there was a lot that I didn't include because it would just be like, it's overwhelm mode. But I definitely, the work that they do, can you imagine separating all that data from the different crime scenes? And then, and then when she described that feeling of being on the stand and knowing that your work is going to be, and like defense attorneys who are going to just tear it
apart.
And it's just like, and you can't be emotional, and you have to be like, it's just the pressure. I don't even want to think about that type of pressure.
I know. It was, but that's what they do.
That's what they do.
That's what they do. And you hear her saying shit like, I was going through separation, a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. I couldn't think about that. I couldn't think about my kids. I couldn't think about anything but the case, to a point where, and maybe not, but the shit going on in her life, it might have been like, okay, I'm grateful to shut all of that out to be able to focus on something this important, right? For this family, to put this to rest, to put this monster in jail. Okay, like I can, willfully shut out all this other stuff in my life and turn that noise off because it's necessary.
You'd have to. I don't know how how you couldn't, and especially as a mother, especially with young children, like that, it's just like, you're wearing your heart on your sleeve, basically.
You
figure out, and yet you have a job to do. And she's really interesting. Like, she told me that there's like something called the Scully effect. I don't know if you've ever heard about it, but it's basically like when X-Files.
That Scully? Dana Scully? Special Agent Scully? Okay.
Absolutely. And I freaking love Mulder. Oh my God. Sure. Like, let me just fangirl over Mulder.
Yeah, of course. I'll join you. He's great.
Of course. Anyway, so many girls saw Scully and they went into STEM because of her. And that's why there's so many women in CSI, because they were like,
is there really a measurable effect because of the television show?
Yes. She told me that. Yes.
Well, I did a show, one of the first podcasts I produced called Can You Survive This Podcast? It's about a Navy SEAL putting guests in survival situations and seeing if they have the skills to get out of it alive, right? Really, really fun. It's almost like a game show. And we've gone through 2 hosts, both Navy SEALs, both joined the Navy because they saw Top Gun. Okay. And like wanted to be naval aviators. And they said everyone in their recruiting class, like 90% of their recruiting classes, was because of that fucking movie. Yeah.
Of course. I'm sure they're going to have a new splurge with her
right now because of the new one.
Because of the new one. I mean, the new one is like
just a propaganda recruiting tool. Like, that's it.
Well, you know what? I am not going to lie. I love Tom Cruise, even though he's white.
I love Tom Cruise. He's a national treasure. He's the greatest movie star of all time.
Are you being sarcastic?
I'm 100% true. I've met him twice. Okay. He's the nicest person that you will ever meet. Not the nicest celebrity, person, the nicest person that you'll ever meet. And I think he's the greatest movie star of all time, without question.
I think that like his whole Scientology stuff, and I don't want to get into that, but like, I think that like whatever he's doing, when you have that level of fame, like, and I know people are like, oh, go cry me a river because you're famous and you're rich. But no, I mean, seriously, like so many people, like he's been able to do what he does for so long and do it so well. And it's like, who knows what that focus is of Scientology, like allows him to, I don't know, but I love Tom Cruise. So
I don't know either. I just know that he's from New Jersey. He's from North Jersey, from very, very close to where I grew up. Okay. So we claim him.
Shit. Look out.
And there's a great story about him. His first gig, there was this fantastic movie called Taps. You ever see Taps?
Of course. Yeah.
Sean Penn, Timothy Hutton. Okay. At the military academy that's shot in North Jersey. Okay. And so the story goes, Tom Cruise is a high school senior, right? It's about to be summer. And this casting call goes out for extras to be in Taps. Okay. And Cruise is like, I'm going. Right. It was a 1-day job. And it happened to land on the day of his high school graduation. And all of his friends were like, well, you can't do it. You're graduating high school. He goes, I don't give a shit. I'm already done with high school. What do I care if I walk across the stage? I'm going to be an actor. And this is my first thing and I'm going. They're like, no, you can't. You can't. We're friends in high school forever. He's like, no, I'm going. So he fucks off from his graduation and he goes to the set and he shows up. What he doesn't realize is that there's this drama happening with an actor. There's an actor there that's struggling with drug addiction. And the actor's father goes up to the director on day one and says, please fire my son. Okay. Because he's got a big problem. And if he gets all this money in his pocket, blah, 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 bad shit could happen to him. And so as soon as the dad says that,
sounds familiar, right?
As soon as the dad says that, the actor's gone because the director knows something that could be harmful to the production of the film. So he's got to fire this kid. So what does he have to do? He has to recast that role that day from the extras that were on set. Tom Cruise auditioned and got the part. And that was it. And that set him on his way.
But in every single interview I've ever heard with Tom Cruise, he goes above and beyond. I mean, if it wasn't this one, it would have been something else because he's so.
That was my next thing. You weren't going to be able to keep him down. One way or the other. His incandescent charisma was going to be noticed somewhere, right?
And his hard work ethic. That dude, like, he doesn't like watches a movie a day for just research. He totally doesn't take vacations. Like, I'm not saying like for other people who are like, oh, we need balance. And I get that, but I really can appreciate someone who is, after all these years, so dedicated, so dedicated to the craft and what he's doing. So
love his stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely love his stuff. Okay, so going back to this episode, something struck me in a kind of a funny way. I realized this is not the second, probably not the third, maybe the fourth time that a bad guy in one of these episodes used "I forgot my wallet" as a defense for a fucked up alibi. Okay.
Okay. I'm trying to remember. It's not coming off the top for me. Like,
okay, there were those dipshits that left and came back like 4 times. First it was the dog, then it was the wallet, then it was something else when they massacred the whole family, their parents.
Oh, right. Yes. Right. Yeah.
That was one.
Okay,
but so, and then I'm thinking about it. Right. But then I'm thinking about it and I'm like, have you ever lost your wallet? Okay, I've lost my wallet and it's awful. Anybody who's lost their wallet in my opinion, would instantly give someone oh, okay, dude, I hear you. That sucks. Okay. Like it would be a good excuse to go way out of your way or to double back or to burn half of a day looking for your wallet. So it's not a bad alibi if you're making something up, because all you need is one cop or one detective who's been in your shoes and be like, okay, yeah, that's fucked up. Let me help you look for it. So
yeah.
So that was that.
Have you ever felt like you're losing? Have you ever lost your phone? Like, I almost feel like it's the same kind of intensity.
Yeah,
like,
very similar.
And that would for a second.
That would be the same thing for me now, because I have one of the phone cases where you keep your credit cards and shit in them, right? I don't carry a wallet anymore. Yeah.
Right. But I'm just saying, even like the idea of you can't find it for like 10 minutes is like, that's when I really realize how addicted I am, because then it's off the rails.
Yeah. It's awful. I know, it's awful. And so then this is just a series of things that made me go, holy shit. So, the fact that they were about to make a deal with this guy, like minutes away from making a deal, when they got the call that they found the girl, like, and then he still turns around and pleads not guilty.
Right.
Like it's something that I don't understand, that I would have loved to have asked one of the detectives or one of the attorneys involved. Like, the process of making a deal isn't secret, right? There's got to be a judge involved or prosecutor. The other side is involved. So the other side knows that he's guilty, at least of knowing where the body, like he's wrong in some very significant way in this. Okay. And all of that, you're supposed to forget about it. It's like, oh, now I'm pleading not guilty. Like, all of that is thrown out, like not admissible in court. Like, couldn't an attorney say, this fucking guy was about to tell us where the body was?
No, I think that's a part of the deal. I can't remember what the actual thing is, what it's called, but there's basically that thing where it's like, okay, we're going to talk, but we're not going to use anything against you. I mean, there is some legal term that I can't remember what it's called. And I'm sure this is exactly what that is, just in case the deal doesn't go through. So it's like he can have options, like, okay, we're just going to talk about it, but until you actually sign anything, this can't be used against you. And of course, the attorney would make sure, his defensive attorney would make sure that that's exactly what was in place, that he's protected.
Oh,
clearly he was. Because you know what? I mean, look, deals fall through all the time. I mean, we know that, and it's not even like a murder trial, right?
Gosh. Okay. And then the incredible luck that this poor girl's hands were intact and were mummified and were able to be rehydrated so they could match that awful, tragic fucking handprint on the inside of that RV. That was, I mean, I don't want to say lucky, but that was, fortunate in terms of the prosecution. Okay. That they were able to do that. And I'd never heard of it before. I'd never heard of mummification and rehydration with enough accuracy to have a usable print that would pass muster in court. Like, that's super high bar.
I've heard of it before, but I actually saw it with the pictures.
Wow.
So it was like incredible. I mean, it was incredible.
You saw like before and after, like here's mummified, here's rehydrated. Holy shit. Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And then we got into my favorite part of the episode, where I was like in a lecture learning about trace evidence. I loved it.
You did?
I loved it. Okay.
Okay.
Looking for connections where there shouldn't be connections. That's like the bottom line of it. Okay. I loved all of that. I was aware of the low card exchange principle because I've just read a ton of Sherlock Holmes, you know.
I know, me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
yeah. So hold
on, I just have to say one thing. The whole thing with the Dirty Dancing thing, that's what was so upsetting that I couldn't.
So upsetting. That pissed me off.
I mean,
that pissed me off so much because I wanted to go, oh, fucking bullshit. That's a stretch of the low card principle, but it's not.
No. And then especially with her going over there on Tuesday for the Girl Scout cookie thing. Like, he was using that. Oh yeah. And she, the neighborhood kids, they just thought my RV was so cool. They wanted to break into it.
Yeah.
There was no evidence of that.
Anything to introduce reasonable doubt. Anything to introduce reasonable doubt. And I'm thinking like, all right, could the Dirty Dancing that they were doing, could all of that material, I mean, because there's got to be, it has to be diluted in steps, okay, going both directions. All right, like, mom, let's follow the defense for a second, what they wanted the jury to believe. Okay, so here's the mom. She puts on like her tight ass high-waisted mom jeans to go out looking good at the bar, right? Okay.
She's got her Spanx on. She's
got her Spanx and her mom jeans. All right. But somewhere on the mom jeans, we're supposed to believe that there's enough trace evidence of, say, the dog or fibers from her daughter's room or shit that picked up in the dryer or whatever. Okay. That was then able to get passed to this guy dancing on the dance floor as they're like, dry docking, as the kids call it today. Right. Okay. So then that happens. And then this guy is able to then leave with all of that trace evidence on his pleated khakis, whatever he wears to look good to go out to the club, right? And then he gets home and then takes a ride in his cool RV because he's Desert Dave, okay? And he sleeps in those pleated khakis, and all that trace material gets passed on to his cool RV. I mean, that's a stretch, right? But
you forget that all of his material gets put on her,
sure. And
mom,
then it gets on the little girl. So I'm saying there has to be a level of dilution of the possibility of passing this material on. But is the probability zero? No. Okay. So that's why reasonable doubt. I read this great book by Bugliosi, that great attorney, who he wrote Helter Skelter, but he wrote Outrage, how O.J. Simpson got away with murder. Okay. And he went to great pains in that book to explain reasonable doubt, and that it's often confused with meaning beyond all doubt, but it's not. You're allowed by law to have some doubt and still convict. Is the doubt reasonable? Right. And it's such a weird, confusing to a layperson like myself. I really appreciated his definition and his explanation of it. And so just because the possibility isn't zero of all of that stuff that we just went through doesn't mean, well, there's reasonable doubt. No, because that would be unreasonable to think it, as opposed to what's more likely to have happened.
Hello, Nigel here. As an owl, I love to be awake all night, but allergy sufferers like you probably don't feel the same. So take Xyzal at night to relieve allergies while you sleep. Then wake up fully refreshed for a more productive day. Xyzal works fast and offers 24-hour continuous relief from sneezing, runny nose, itchy watery eyes, and itchy nose and throat, so you can enjoy doing the things you love all day long. Be wise all. Take Xyzal at night. Use as directed. Starts working in 45 minutes.
The #1 selling product of its kind with over 20 years of research and innovation. Botox Cosmetic, onabotulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that my feeling about when people are being prosecuted for something is that they really have to have that physical evidence, because one person, I mean, I think Benjamin Franklin said this, like, I can't remember what the quote is, but basically, like, if one person that's innocent gets put away, it's not worth it, you know?
Correct.
And
Correct.
I think that's true. But
Right.
in this case, there was so much evidence that it was like beyond a reasonable doubt.
And you have to
Absolutely.
also remember, also going back to what we were talking about before, the prosecution, the side of justice, knew that he was about to make a deal. Okay, so they knew that he was guilty. He was about to admit it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they weren't worried about maybe putting an innocent man away.
No, but I'm talking about people that they go after.
Correct.
And it's like they don't have anything.
Yeah.
And it's like they're in. I mean, how many people are in jail right now?
Yeah. And our system is supposedly designed to avoid that. The bar is so high to avoid an innocent man getting sent away or woman getting sent away. I get it. And it should be high. It should be really, really high. That's the reason why a lot of people are opposed to the death penalty, you know? But
well, you know, Mo's not.
Holy Jesus Christ, Mo. Slow down.
She was like, "You're governor." I'm
You're
like,
governor. Like, you don't. I'm like, Carolyn doesn't live in fucking California.
I'm in Seattle, okay? We have a governor here with a moratorium as well, but
yeah.
You know,
and so then I grew up with a dog that was half Weimaraner and half Black Lab, so I know the short hair shedding dogs. Great dog. And I like that Layla contributed to this.
I just wasn't it so sad about how she was like had dog hair all over her and slept with her dog, and I just like that detail just
the detail that really fucked me up was the timeline. Okay, that he was in the room while the parents were eating fucking pizza, and he was waiting for them to go to bed. What, just like sitting on the floor, like on his phone, like playing fucking, you know, words with friends. You know what I mean? Like, what was he doing while the girl's asleep? Just sitting there.
I hadn't even thought about that. Like before she told me that, it was at the end of the interview, and Mo said that that's the thing, we'll never know exactly. You know, he could have possibly gone through the slider, or he could have gone through the garage door when they had been smoking pot.
Right. So, and that's, well, you're opening up another series of questions that I'll ask in a second, but finish. Yeah.
I mean, I hadn't thought about that, about him going in there and waiting and hearing the adults laughing and hearing like, and just squirreling away. And it reminded me of the Jack Spillman, where we think of it as like in our previous episode, when we were talking about like, oh my gosh, how could he have done this, you know, to go in and knowing, but they get off on stuff like that. Like they love this idea of secretly being there and the potential for getting caught. Like their thought process is not like ours, where, you know, we would be like, this is the worst thing. We don't want to be here. We don't want to, like, we're violating privacy. We're like the people who do this type of crime, they are loving this. They are loving going inside and knowing that they could do something. I mean, it's just a different mindset.
Okay. But remember what we talked about in episode 1 was my feeling is that this was his first time doing this.
Well, we didn't go into a lot of detail with the previous, the relatives that he had, the little girls that he had tried to molest, but they told. And so I think that, and in those scenarios, he'd gone into their bedrooms in the middle of the night. So I feel like even though
okay. See, I didn't know that. It
yeah,
it seemed like he was the kind of like he wasn't planning on getting caught. And so he was like in that room going, what the fuck am I going to say if someone comes in here? Like, I'm screwed. Do I fight my way out? Like, what do I do to try to talk my way out of it? Like, I don't know. I wish someone had cleared my search history, because if I get caught, they're also going to see all the fucking kiddie porn on my computer because I'm a dipshit. Right. And so, like, I think he was sitting there squirming. And then when the parents just, ate pizza, got fucked up, and like went to bed, he was like, bingo, watch this,
I don't know. I feel like, what do you think? Do you think he went through the slider, or do you think that he went through the garage door and was there for a while?
I don't know. And that was going to be my question. So he never copped to anything. He never gave his confession, never said how he did it or when she died, nothing. He just shut the fuck up, and he's still alive in prison somewhere.
Yep.
Oh man, the shit that I hope is happening to him on a daily basis in San Quentin. Okay. I just hope, like, to within an inch of his life every night, and then he recuperates just enough to survive so it happens again the next day. That's it. Repeat over and over again. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. It is so horrible. It's so absolutely horrible. And then the fact that he would actually go through an entire trial, knowing what they had, knowing that all the forensics, and knowing that what he had on his computers, knowing his whole like dry cleaner situation. Like, I don't know how you could possibly, go through that,
The blood stains in the RV, on his clothes, on the stuff at the cleaners.
I mean, isn't it amazing that you think, I mean, I've never thought about like this, but like I've thought about it now, that if you commit a crime, don't even bother washing your clothes.
Right? I know, like,
because
is it like his favorite shirt?
I don't know.
Listen, I don't know. When I was in an awful car accident when I was 17. Okay. I was driving to Newark Airport to pick up a girl that I'd been dating from Ohio. She was flying in to see me. Okay. And I wanted to look my best. And remember the clothing.
God, don't tell me your narcissism is what were you looking in the rear mirror?
Hold on. Remember the surf brand OP?
Of course, Ocean Pacific.
Ocean Pacific. My brother
those shorts with the cords.
My brother had this long sleeve OP t-shirt that I thought I looked fucking dope in. Okay. All right. So my brother's out with his friends. I get in my car. Okay. It just starts raining. Right. And I'm wearing that shirt and I'm going to the airport. I think I'm looking all fly. Right. I'm going to pick up my girl. Woo! Right. It's raining like hell. I lose control of my car. It like ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. It rolls like 3 times. Awful. Some good Samaritan. All I remember is a gold Acura. Some good Samaritan and a gold Acura like pulls me out of my car because he thought that it was going to explode. Okay. Ambulance and everything. I come to in the ambulance. All right. And I'm like fucking bleeding everywhere. And I've got a huge gash on my left arm. And they take out those like weird scissors that like have an angle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're about to cut the shirt. I'm like, don't cut the shirt. It's my brother's. He can't find out that I'm wearing it.
Oh my gosh. I've got one that's not as good, but almost as good. My sister, she used to work at Safeway and she worked her ass off. She was the type of person that was a bagger and she was there and she worked after school. And so she had money and I didn't. We're 3 years apart. I'm the younger sister. And she would literally got a lock on her door so that I wouldn't go in there and steal her clothes. And so of course I like figured out, because it was one of those ones that like had screws on the side. So I could just screw it. So
oh, Jesus.
not only was I wearing like one of her bomb outfits that I just thought I was so fly. But my best friend went and so we're at the McDonald's because that's where everybody like hangs out and go to a party. And I'm totally wearing like my sister's entire awesome outfit, and my best friend and my sister walks in. We weren't even wearing shoes. My sister had these like awesome like suede moccasins that were like had these like turquoise.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, sure. Moccasins, height of fashion, in the late 80s.
Hey, OP in Jersey. Okay. Jersey Shore.
Yeah. Big surf culture in the woods of North Jersey.
That's what I'm saying. Anyway, we're just like the younger siblings, but
yeah. But this ties back to why did this guy, the clothes that he was wearing when he murdered somebody that probably had evidence, why not burn them, leave them somewhere, hide them? But no, was it like his favorite outfit?
I feel like I've actually been thinking about that because it just doesn't track.
Yeah.
And what I'm thinking is that he's probably in his mind the road trip has gone off the rails so hardcore. Like, how does he explain not having a shred of clothes? Like when they're like, "Hey, where are
the clothes you were wearing?" I was wearing this. Oh, really? Boxers, an undershirt, and no shoes the whole time. That's what you were wearing?
I was thinking, like, oh, okay, wait a second. So you could have said you left your suitcase in the desert. You know, like what could you say to say that you got rid of your clothes?
Yeah,
like
I know, which all comes back to this guy didn't know what the fuck he was doing. I think this was his first time.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I do think that there were things leading up that he just never got caught for.
Yeah.
You know.
And my last thought on this was that the detective, the main woman that we heard this whole time, what was her name?
Mo Parga.
She really kind of unloads on the parents at the end for not checking on the kids.
Oh, Jennifer Shen.
Jen. Yeah. She didn't really pull any punches there, to the point where I was like, I was a little shocked that she placed a lot of blame on them. Like they just didn't check on the kids. They were out all night. They're eating pizza. They're da-da-da. The alarm was showing. The light was blinking red. They don't check on their kids. I went, okay, easy. Jesus. That seemed like a lot.
Doing that a little bit last week yourself, where you're like,
no.
I locked every single door because of you.
No, what I was thinking, that I felt bad for the guy, that he's got to live with himself for not doing that. Okay. Mm-hmm. And if he could change anything, obviously that's what he would do. He would change. Go open the door and check on the kids. But again, like where I grew up, no one locked their doors. No one locked anything. Like the government had to remind parents that they had kids every night at 10 o'clock, right? Hey, it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? Right? Like that came on the news. Oh, like our parents had to be reminded, right, that they were parents every night.
I still think that there's places where people don't lock their doors all the time.
Of course there are.
This would be one of those neighborhoods.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So it wasn't out of the ordinary for them to not check on their kids at 3 a.m. before going to bed, I think is my thing. Okay. And I just happen to be in the habit of doing that. I'm a kind of a worried parent. I wasn't expecting to be that kind of parent, but I am, like I double check and triple check. And I was the guy that, up until a couple of years ago, I would make sure my kids were breathing if they were in a sound sleep. You know what I mean? Like put my hand on their chest, right?
Are you talking about then they're not like little babies? You're talking about like their children?
Like babies? Now. Yeah. Yeah. Just, I don't know. I'm just a worried parent, I guess. I don't know. But so I was in no way blaming them for not checking. I was just not to the extent that Jen was. Right. And that just shocked me a little bit at the end, how she kind of let us know how she feels about it.
I just think that it's such a relatable thing. I mean, I could see the dad just being racked with guilt, because usually 100%. Like in our house, my husband checks all the doors before we go to bed. Like that's kind of his job. Me too. I mean, I see myself as the one that would be doing the dirty dancing, not necessarily because I'm doing that, but because it's like
in the mom genes. Sure.
Exactly. But I'm just saying, like, I think it's so awful. And then to have this guy, basically be like, yeah, it was her fault. And like, she passed her stuff to me and I mean, it's just so awful.
Yeah. So the one thing that I think was missing that maybe Jen didn't go over is, if it wasn't their client, generally the defense will offer an alternative to the
Mhm.
jury. Like, then this is what actually happened.
Well,
And I
that's
didn't
what they
hear
were
that.
doing with their lifestyle. They were acting like their lifestyle is what invited
Right,
somebody
but
else.
who was the person?
I
You
don't
know,
think
like,
they had a specific
right,
person
okay,
to say. It could have been, it's like the bushy-haired stranger that they invited in,
right,
that was hot, like
yeah.
that's the person.
Like it could have been anyone because they were swingers. Okay.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that didn't hold any water.
Yeah.
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 Jesus Christ. Well,
Oh,
man.
I actually have one question for you.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about how I think that you would actually make a really good juror. Because have you ever had jury duty? I mean,
No.
and not been able to get out of it?
Nope.
Because you always think about, you think through these things like the hose, you think through these things like the interrogation, you think through these things, and it seems, but I do think that you have the bias with the child pornography. Like that would be hard to overcome, right? Like if they didn't have all the physical evidence that they have, would you? That's what I think, but that's where that thought experience hit a brick wall, was that I was like thinking like you wouldn't be able to like overcome that.
No, I wouldn't. I'd want to go, put my hands on the guy and hurt him,
But I'm not just talking about this guy.
No, I know, but whoever it is, like if it was like a guy with kiddie porn, I'm like,
yeah,
I couldn't get back.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay.
But no, it'd be, listen, I don't know. That could be fun. Could be interesting.
What, jury duty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll see if next time I get a thing, I was like, once I was on vacation, like I was out of the country and then one time I went and I just didn't get called. And then they got sent home. I think the case settled right before, all that shit. Like I've always just missed it. But, but my grandmother on my dad's side, no one knew because it's secret. I don't know. It had to be this secret. She was a grand juror for a long time in New Hampshire.
What is a grand juror?
So, you always hear like, a grand jury was convened and blah, blah, whatever, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, that's
a single unit.
Right. It's different than being on a jury. Like a grand jury is impaneled and, I think it goes.
You're calling her a grand juror because we're used to hearing grand jury, but she
was a member of a grand jury. She was impaneled. Right. And I guess when that happens, a single group of a grand jury, at least how it was in New Hampshire back in the day, if it works, it works, and they stick around for years in like several cases, and grand juries are done in secret. Like wow. she couldn't tell anybody. I know it's weird. I still don't understand
the Illuminati.
Yeah, I still don't understand the whole grand jury process, but but yeah, they
talk about a specific case, or were there multiple cases?
There are multiple cases that go before the grand jury to get federal indictments.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
She was a very, very trustworthy woman. I don't blame them for wanting her opinion, or her level of discretion, because no one fucking knew shit till after she died.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No.
Wow. She could keep a secret,
I guess. And it's also to protect them and, and whatever. That's why it's kept secret, Anyway, well, listen, this was, despite the incredibly unsettling subject matter, I obviously very much enjoyed this episode. I love going to forensic science school. I think I could be a detective like now. Okay. So I know how to collect evidence, Petri dish, tape lifts. I listened really, really close. I think I could do it. And again, I'm glad that they caught this guy and that he's never going to fucking see the light of day again. So there is justice sometimes. Well done. So what do you got next?
I will just have to keep you guessing.
Okay. All right. I guess we'll have to wait. Well, thank you again, Murder Chronicles Nation, for spending some time with us today. Hope you enjoyed the episode as much as Carol and I enjoy making them for you. Please take a moment to consider supporting the great shows that support our show. Sorry, excuse me. Let me back up. Please consider supporting the great companies that support our show. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. Carolyn, anything you'd like to add?
Oh, thank you so. Oh, we hit our million subscriber. I mean, not subscribers. Our million downloads.
Woo-hoo! 1 million downloads. 1 million downloads.
I wish you could see Branden flexing. That. How does that go again?
My guns are filling up the whole screen. They wish they could see it. Hey, congratulations on 1 million. When did that happen? Last week?
Sometime. We're well past 1 million now.
That's good. Whoa, hubba.
Hubba, hubba.
We should do a post. We should do something to celebrate that. That's incredible. Yeah. Congratulations. We're in the top 0.001% of any podcast that's ever been made to hit 1 million.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you, Murder Chronicle. This is not about us. This is like, thank you, Murder Chronicles.
No, it's about us. It's about us. I'm kidding.
Right. Not.
I'm kidding. It's very humbling. I am really grateful for that. So Carolyn's right. It's about you guys. Thank you for always finding the show and making it part of your weekly routine. We do not take that for granted. I know I've got a thing in my throat because I'm just so choked up about the 1 million downloads.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, thank you so much. So thank you for listening. Refer a friend. Like, we want to keep this ball rolling. So
absolutely. And until next week, stay safe out there. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
The Murder Chronicles is a Pie in the Sky production recorded live in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. We are produced by Branden Morgan and myself, music by Soundstripe. For Pie in the Sky Media, I'm Carolyn Osorio, your writer and host. Thanks for listening.